that, we connect them into, or we connect them to those hiring people, or we connect them with advisors and investors so that they can grow from that MVP. So we are against the white paper model. We're saying to the students, build something, and we connect you to the investor once they build something that you know how to do.
Is there any component to your class or curriculum where you teach token fund?
We do.
Velocity.
We do. We
how to accelerate circulation.
Yeah. We do. We teach 3 tracks basically. One of them is blockchain development for people with no background in programming at all. And this is over like 11 months training. We teach blockchain development for people with background in programming. And we teach blockchain for business professionals, in which we talk about token economics, and we talk about strategies or how to build strategies to incorporate blockchain into your company. And the first thing we try to teach them is you really have to study if you really need blockchain.
How long are these tracks?
It depends on the course. So blockchain for business professional currently is a 2 days course. 1 day introduction, the second day is a workshop to build those strategies. The technical track is 10 months track. The blockchain for or Ethereum engineering of the blockchain and advanced development is currently a 6 days bootcamp that we teach over 6 weeks, part-time program. And the reason why we need it part-time is that we need to give the students a lot of room to try things, test things, and come and ask questions. So we usually teach in the weekends, but we sit there to answer questions and work with the students during the weekends.
All right. Please give them a round. That's very informative. Thanks, Mohammed. If you have any questions, by all means, hang around. Once we're done with the startup pitches, we'll have a little bit of a networking session and provide you additional information. Thank you.
Thank you.
So a couple things I want to do before we start with the demo night presentation. We have 2 sponsors. I just want to, one of them, they can make it, JBB Hotels, Wild Palms. They've been very nice to us. I really want to thank them for this excellent venue. But he's still driving down from San Francisco. They couldn't make it. The other technology partner I have is Internet Solutions, and I have Raghu from Internet Solutions. Yeah, just give them. You have a couple of minutes to talk.
Hello everyone, my name is Raghu Raman Seturaman. I'm from Internet Solution. I'm a head of strategist, and I work a lot with a lot of customers. We work with all the startup program mentors as well. We see how we can bring them on board, how we can support them to be successful. We work with a lot of customers there, right? We work, strategizing customers to move towards new solutions, new products, and then we bring the startup products also to come into the fold, right? We try to connect partners, customers, and startup innovators. As we have a forum, we develop our own solutions over here. We have, we have got a lot of engagements here. And again, any customers, for that matter, who wants to engage towards a new solution, right? And they have technical problems on that side. We go back and solve the problems. And also, we come back and say tactically which area we want to attack to solve the customer issues. For example, Internet Solutions point of view, which way we want to move towards, which area we want to go back and, for example, blockchain is one of the areas we are investing heavily, so that we can just see how we can make our presence fit and see how we can solve customer problems. So we've got multiple folds, we got multiple angles over here. My role in this Internet side is as I said earlier, strategist and solve customer pain points. Thanks for hearing.
Thank you.
And then I am very happy to introduce Luke. He's our media partner. He has a company called On. Do you want to say a few words about it?
Sure. So I heard the hackathon earlier. Someone mentioned hackathon. Wait, hackathon. So what TON is providing media coverage to hackathon participants. and also crowdfunding for the project. That's what we do. And we're focusing on underserved entrepreneurs. I really consider women are the most underserved entrepreneurs that exist. I also consider that blockchain is also underserved compared to the market. So that's it.
I apologize, I didn't catch the name.
My name is Luke, and the company name is called Town, and the media is called Town Media.
So TH.
It's the
Like Hackathon.
hackathon.
Oh,
So he found the name, but
I'm Hackathon Media. You can check my Instagram, and some of the pictures are going to be sent to Balaji, and some will be on Instagram. So we have about 100,000 followers, and just going to keep going. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I want to get going with the demo night features. Before I do that, obviously, we have two VCs, angel investors, who are here, who's going to be judging the panel. And again, like I mentioned, the idea is to provide a platform for the startups, and we do reward the so-called winner. I say like the top of all the startups with our newsletter promotions and whatnot. And also I take this back to my network and then have our company, the family of clubs, to look at it. And if it interests them, obviously, that becomes a deal flow situation. And that said, Mithun, do you want to get started with it? Sure. Why don't you introduce yourself,
Sure.
and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Mithun Mehta. I'm a consultant with Google. I work on blockchain projects. Happy to be here. I'm also an angel investor. I've invested in almost 32 odd companies. You can learn more about me on LinkedIn. Mithun N. Mehta. Listen me and refer the blockchain night. And I'll be happy to accept and connect. Thanks.
Hi everybody, I was presented here already like a student then, but in my previous incarnation, I was the angel investor, and I am creator of the Russian NASDAQ, and I invested in maybe something like 50 companies in my life. Here in the Silicon Valley, I run the incubation program for financial technology startup, which is now mostly about blockchain. And well, I got like a double interest. I'm sorry, most of my interest now in the technological part of startups. So like on consensus algorithms, some new solutions on this side. And I hope the startups which you show we will see now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So I'm going to get going with the startup. The first one to go on the stage is ThunderCore. We do a 6+4, 6 minutes of pitch and 4 minutes, but you got 10 minutes. You can use it. Decentralized. Do what Wayne likes.
How's everyone doing? Good. So really nice to be here, and my name is Gingmo. I'm from ThunderCore, and today I'm gonna briefly tell you about what we're doing at ThunderCore. So first of all, ThunderCore is a public blockchain that is fully Ethereum compatible, which means whatever Solidity smart contract or dApps you have already deployed, it's really easy to plug and play to our platform, which you will see how easy it is later. And the benefits you're going to get is around 100 times faster transaction per second. Right now, Ethereum is performing at 12 to 15 transactions per second, and our testnet is running at 1,000 plus transactions consistently. And the second benefit is block finality, and we are doing around seconds, in the scale of seconds of block finality. And the third benefit you're going to get is really inexpensive gas fees compared to Ethereum. Now, one of our biggest features is our full Ethereum compatibility, because right now on the market, we think there's a whole spectrum of EVM compatibility, and we think we are at the very best in that we fully support Solidity and the entire Ethereum toolchain. So be it MetaMask, Truffle, ERC20 smart contracts, all those kind of stuff. All you have to do literally is to change your RPC endpoint. Originally, you're saying, oh, I want to deploy this smart contract to the Ethereum network. Now you just change that one line saying that, oh, I want to deploy to ThunderCore, and you're good to go. So in order to make this happen, we have an amazing team. So our CEO, Chris Wong, he is the founder of Playdom. That was a social gaming company. And he has proven records as an entrepreneur. And he brought the company under him. The company eventually reached around 100 million annual revenue. And by the way, right now he still holds the record for the fastest completion of a Carnegie Mellon University CS PhD at the age of 22. And our co-founder, chief scientist, Elaine Shi, who is a big name in the academia of blockchain and Bitcoin, she co-authored the first academic paper in Bitcoin and smart contracts, and also Rafael Paz. So both of our scientists are professors at Cornell, and they are the masterminds behind our Thunderata consensus protocol. So how far has our project gone? So we have actually launched our testnet, public testnet, this August, and we will be launching our mainnet earlier next year, 2019. So I think it's best to show you a demo of how fast it is. So on the left, what you see is Rinkeby, which is the Ethereum testnet. And on the right, you see is Thunder testnet. So they're running the exact same smart contract code, and you can see the performance boost immediately. Right, so one of the biggest advantages is that deploying to Thunder Core, migrating any of your existing Ethereum applications to Thunder Core is super easy. And during the San Francisco Blockchain Week, we hosted a developer workshop. And it's one of the reasons is that we want to see how easy it is for developers to actually get their hands on our platform. And there were around 40 developers in the room. We asked them to deploy a vanilla ERC smart contract, which you can find anywhere online, onto our network, just through the Remix IDE. And all they have to do literally is to first get a new account, and second, deploy to our network, and that's it. And the benefits they're seeing is fascinating. So our focus right now for our project is we want to expand our partnerships and build an ecosystem and get more developers to use our platform. So we have already established a couple of partnerships and very good use cases. And so if there are any very good leads you can think of or use cases you have in mind, please come to us, and we'd be really happy to talk about that. And yeah, so in the end, please follow us on social media. If it's Twitter, it will be Thunder Protocol. And we'd love to talk to you after this session. Thank you. Any questions?
So I love the performance part, but how different is this from Block Apps?
Sorry.
Block Apps basically came out of, if you remember, they came out of Tachyon for conferences. They're one of the first batch and they're very enterprise ready. I don't know what their performance now clocks, but they came out to make basically Ethereum enterprise ready. And the other one is Kaleido. I don't know whether Kaleido is 100% EVM compatible, but I know Block Apps is. So I don't know if you've done any comparisons with Kaleido or Block Apps at all.
Yeah. To be honest, right now, I'm really not familiar with those two projects.
Okay.
But compared to if I look across the board of different projects that's in the scalability space, what I see our advantage is first it's Ethereum compatibility, and that's really important for us because we think because Ethereum already has the biggest smart contract platform anyways, so really don't have to rebuild that part. And in terms of performance numbers and security, we don't make any sacrifices on that front. So I'm really not familiar with other projects, but yeah, I can only comment on.
So quick other question is, are you part of EEA?
No, we're not.
So you're not following their roadmap or their specs. They just recently released, I think, 1 or 2 specs. So I don't know if
we're not working with EEA right now.
Okay. Any particular reason why? I mean, that seems like an industry fund for Ethereum.
Right now, we want to build an ecosystem. So we want to start with the public blockchain, maybe in the later.
And then quick one, do you have your own markup language? Like, let's say digital asset as for demos, do you plan on going on and creating one where you can actually go out and quickly build a smart contract. Right now we're dependent on third-party tools, but if you have your own multiplier, then
definitely. So if there's better ones that's coming along, we're definitely glad to support that, or we might plan to build our own if that's that's
and then from a funding standpoint, are you folks raising money since you're pitching here?
So right now we are actually just expanding, getting our names out there, and want to find partnerships and use cases. So as far as funding goes, we're doing pretty well on that. So we just want to get our names out there and build an ecosystem.
I might have a use case for you, so I should meet up after this.
Yeah, that would be great.
So the difference in your execution, is it because of your hardware or is it because of your algorithm? Where is it the delta comes from your standard one and yours?
Right, so the difference is the consensus protocol. So an analogy would be if Ethereum is a vehicle, we just swap out their engine and replace it with a faster one. And we don't make any sacrifices on security or other fronts. So it's the consensus protocol that's given us the advantage.
Or is it done with scale? For example, when the measurement that you showed today between 32 seconds and between you and everybody is using 6 seconds, I hope it is measured atomically, right? So when you do that with, let's say, thousands of contracts or millions of contracts, do you guys have benchmark numbers? How you're?
So right now our throughput is at more than 1,000 transactions per second. And in terms of the demo, this is actually pretty old. We were working on an updated demo because our consensus protocol is evolving as well, and we're constantly improving the performance numbers. Yeah. So hopefully next time or something we can show you a better demo or with more transactions.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand what your kind of use case. Is it like a Tendermint? You more or less following the way of customers. So you're proposing, so you got like an open source consensus protocol. That's what you're saying?
So what we are thinking is we think. So let's say Ethereum. There's a lot of very good ideas. Say. Insurance, all those kind of smart contracts idea, we think it's very valuable use cases. But what's hindering the development is the performance of Ethereum. So what we want to do is to be able to have a platform that whatever existing smart contracts you have, you can plug and play to our platform. You can actually, thanks to the performance, you can actually make that use case happen because one of the examples I could think of is, let's say, CryptoKitties. Well, I guess one of the reasons it finally died down is that the network is just not good enough to handle that large amount of transactions. And we as a platform want to give all other companies and projects the capabilities to develop on top of it.
Yeah, I see, but I think you're not answering my question because actually what I'm asking here is it your protocol open source? So or I can ask you differently, are you allowed multi-chain, for example?
Right, so right now we're not open source, and one of the reasons is that we have patents on that, but we're working well, right now we haven't decided yet, but since we have patents and we're really proud of the technology that we have, and part of the technology is already published and written in the academic venues, but in terms of source code, we're not open source yet.
So again, are you allowing multi-chain?
Multi-chaining as in
sidechain. Can for example, developers develop the sidechain to your protocol, and then using your, well, that's my going to be the second question. Using your consensus mechanism to register the state in their chain and your chain.
Right. So if any kinds of scalability solutions is built upon, let's say, the Solidity smart contract, Solidity.
That's different because smart contracts isn't well. I still don't really understand what's your backend language.
We're out of time.
Okay.
I'm
sorry. I don't want to do this. I think we don't have enough time. I'll ask you a question after this.
Yeah, let's discuss this.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. A couple things one thing that I usually set as an expectation, right? So after the startup pitch, we will have time for questions, but I want the judges to ask their questions, and then we'll open up to the audience. So that way, like, the judges have all their questions answered, they can judge the startup and come back with the winner. So that's how we'll go. Now, the next that I have is, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I'm Eamon with Ferdani.
Yes. All right, so do you have a?
I do not have a pitch deck with me. I was not prepared for this today.
Okay.
I'm going to just actually show a product. So Ferdani, we're a smart contract platform. Lokahi is the product. My co-founder and visionary of the product was he's a former Googler short term. He was dealing with mission critical systems in his career early on, and obviously we all kind of think blockchain is mission critical in a lot of the capacities that it's being explored and being used. And so when he left Google, he started taking on contracts, and lots of people wanted to launch ICOs and have smart contracts built in Solidity. He said, no problem, I'll learn Solidity and take care of these. Quickly realized some of the challenges with that and decided to go back to the root problem. I come from a corporate environment in the media world. I spent 11 years with ESPN. As a producer, 6 years, stole a couple of Emmy Awards, jumped to operations in Dublin and London after I left the States. And what I learned in operations is, there's Band-Aids throughout every chain, right? And every time there's a problem and I would get a call at 3 in the morning, I would say, well, what was the root problem? Fix that, right? And so the brilliance of what my co-founders built here is that he decided to go back to some of the root problem here and address some of the challenges in general with smart contracts. So what he decided to do was start to build a platform that allows anyone to build a smart contract. So he used mathematical constructs, Lambda world, which I won't pretend to be an expert in by any means, being the business guy, but starting with a base to write a smart contract in a drag and drop scenario. So familiar with maybe Visio. Log in here. This is the dashboard. So basically, the idea is to open up the market to allow people without programming knowledge to build a smart contract. So the dashboard here is kind of standard things to create a new project. Your basics of a system. You can copy an agreement. We call them digital agreements in the system, but they're smart contracts. Duplicate them, delete them. The standards. If you see the little highlighted yellow elements here, this is to show that it's been deployed to the test chain. If it was green, it would be deployed all the way to the blockchain, to the mainnet. There's other basic functions here within each of the contracts. They're pretty standard. And so if you open up to the canvas, basically the contract system is kind of mapping. So there's a logical layer, then there's a couple of other layers, and then there's the domain layer, which I'll show you here. And so basically there's components that are built, and we have some built now. We are about 70% done with the product. So this is a working demo, but we're only publishing to the testnet for Ethereum at the moment, and our own testnet as well. But basically, I'll actually just kind of map a contract here. Just take these ones from the canvas and start again. But so what we've used here for the demo is a Kanban. Is anybody familiar with Kanban? Manufacturing processes or development? Yeah. So this is a simplified version, right? It's a pretty simple contract. And so I bring a Kanban on. I'll show you another example. It's not quite linking yet, but you can imagine this is a payment process, or maybe an escrow, or whatever components would necessarily be needed for the smart contract. And so you drag them onto the canvas, and then you drag and connect them to each other, and then configure them. So here. Usability testing from the audience. So one of the key elements here, due to his kind of mission critical experiences and the challenges with buggy code, right, which we all know about, is a formal verification process. And so, realistically here, if you're any kind of developer, you have this experience of this curve, right? The more lines of code you write, the more bugs you have. This system is flatline, right? So, but we have to go through a lot of verification processes through the simple mathematical constructs to confirm that there are no issues. But again, because there's no programming language, there aren't any bugs. So we go through a check here, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. A couple of errors that come up because these have not been connected. So I will click on the connection between the two. And this brings up, kind of a connections UI. Not everything is done on the UI UX, so there's some things that are still a little bit messy. But basically, when you want to set in Kanban, it's pretty straightforward, right? So it's more of a kind of basic one-to-one relationship here. But if you want to set parameters, these would act as kind of guards, if you will. And so I'll set these at just any figure. Kanban's pretty straightforward, but. And then, these would act as kind of guards in the system, and then move on to the next kind of stage to verify this connection. So just one more. I did not actually. So part of the process here for the formal verification is that each component will be constructed at the lower level. So a lot of the different steps in each part of the process will have to be configured prior. But also, there's a reporting aspect that I'll kind of show at the end as well, if I have time. So that basically confirms that connection has been made, right? So I'll just remove this one to save myself a little bit of time. But so basically, the connection has been made between those two, and then I would come up and do a full report here on kind of all of the different formal verification processes. Now, I'd have to load a file to run this, so I'm not going to run it. But basically, there's about 8 in the system now. There'll be about 20, maybe more if something is blocked, a max active register, boundedness, and you can imagine all of the different steps in the formal verification process. And so, to kind of wrap up, because it looks like I'm getting short on time, then you would come over to deploy well, in this instance, to the Ethereum testnet, and put in your contract address and deploy the blockchain. Now, this is an agnostic process, so right now we're on Ethereum, but all it takes is a decoder to go to the EVM. Even going to, more work to be done for maybe a NEO or, Tron or something else for a different virtual machine, but anything that is EVM compatible, fairly easy for us to. That's the only thing that has code in it, is that decoder, if you will, whatever term you want to use, which places a mathematical instruction set on the blockchain. So that's a condensed version of the way the product works, and I'll open it up for questions.
A couple minutes for questions.
So are you transferring code in binaries, as I understand?
It's kind of like that. It's not exactly like that. And again, I'm not the deep mathematician behind it, so I can't answer every single question on the technical side. But basically what it does is the mathematical language, kind of like Lambda, transfers that mathematical construct instruction set onto the blockchain.
So basically, as I understood, you have to kind of avoid solidity, because solidity cannot be an abnormally verified. So you're basically probably using some, I don't know, like state language,
yes,
and then state language, right?
And then we have state-space analysis in our
like Camel or something like this, right?
Somewhat similar.
Yeah, probably Camel. And then you kind of go to binary, and then you go to the okay.
Have you looked at deploying this on GCP, on Google Cloud Platform, where we have now vast blockchain as a service available?
It's funny you asked that, because I did not know you were going to be here. I didn't even know I was going to be here until 4 hours ago. I was researching this today. So we've been looking at Hyperledger. We're part of EEA. We just joined. So we're looking at kind of a lot of the different structures on the enterprise side. We're friendly with a few companies here locally, Oracle and some others that have been giving us some advice. But I was just researching Google Cloud today, and actually reached out to a few people on your team and investigate a little bit further. So no, not yet. But we've started with Ethereum. By January 15th, we'll be ready for mainnet, or testnet for maybe 1 or 2 more if we want. We're also looking, because this is not, there's no programming language here, imagine breaking this out. Say this portion of the smart contract, and then this, and then this. This portion could be published to an IoT device, So we're also looking at bridging the gap off chain, and then this portion to the blockchain. So there's other applications that we're looking at as well.
Cool. There are some use cases that we have that we would rather discuss in private, but we would love to go out and see if we can build ready templates that our developers can go out and use, and then build use cases.
So what we would have to do is go back, build these components. I mean, I don't want to take all the time in the tool, but I can pull up another contract while I take questions that isn't quite completely operable yet, and I'll show you, basically what we would have to build, right? It's just mixture components and get the concept. And so, yeah, so look, we would just, whatever components are in that use case that we don't have, we go build them, whatever it takes, and then we're good to go.
Can I use oracles here?
Yeah, in fact, one of these icons actually is an oracle. So, again, any component could be in a smart contract. We just have to build all of them. Not all of them are built yet. That's an oracle, but
So
the
you
code
can
for that is
simulate
not.
right?
Yeah. So, we can build over time. We can build anything. Right? It's just right now we're trying to finish the platform itself. It's almost there. So we're looking for some specific use cases to play with. Finish the platform by January 15th. Then by March we'll be able to publish to at least Ethereum mainnet and hopefully a couple others as well.
So if you can make some of the artifacts from Google Cloud available as a kind of service on this. Okay, good.
Yeah, I think we're out of time, but obviously, please feel free to stick around, network, and ask your questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
For your time.
Yeah.
All right, the next startup to go is Rayo.
What? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Jeffrey Bulla and I'm the founder of Rayo. So we are solving one of today's most hardest problems in the internet, which is fake accounts and bot accounts online. So you probably know that there's hundreds of millions of fake accounts, like non-human accounts. Wondering about in the internet, like Facebook, Twitter, dating sites, and everywhere else, and they've been deceiving users, deceiving companies, advertisers, and personally annoying me and annoying some users online in different services. And obviously, we all know that they've been influenced democratic elections and other social issues that are affected by this. So we are solving this problem by building the first network of verified humans. So this is a network of humans that verify other humans. The way it works, and we call this proof of humanity, this is how it works. So if you sign up today or tomorrow or for Rayo and you come and talk to me, I remember this conversation and I'm a verifier. And then after you sign up, you get a check mark that you are verified. Okay, verified human. This is different from from ID verification or what we call KYC, because it doesn't require this human to show the passport or ID, anything like that. Once you become a human or a verified human in Rayo, you could build up your reputation in Rayo, and eventually you could become a verifier. And verifiers are able to verify other people. And that's how the network expands. There's reputation component to this. So as the user builds his reputation within Rayo, he earns karma, which is a reputation score. And that reputation score eventually will get these users to become verifiers. There is a component of an incentive layer, which is about money, and it's our cryptocurrency. So we are launching Rayo Coin, which is the cryptocurrency incentive. for this system. So as users build up their reputation, they also earn Rayo coin by getting verified, by inviting others to the network, and also they earn Rayo coin when they engage in different tasks within the network. There's the incentive to stay honest is related to the reputation score and to a Rayo coin. So if a user gets caught trying to abuse the system and basically building an army of bots, this user risk losing his verification status. This user risk losing his reputation score and also potentially some of the Rayo coin. So we believe that after a user has been building up his reputation within a network, usually there's little incentives to try to abuse the network. So you think about it, let's say you've been building your network on LinkedIn, so there's little incentive after taking years of building that network to try to scam everyone in LinkedIn. So to become a verifier, you need to work on your reputation for initially could be 6 months to a year. So at that point, we believe that there's little incentive to try to abuse the system because of the reputation that you built. And you're better off just earning Rayo coin and making money with Rayo than actually trying to build an army of fake accounts to try to abuse the system. So our first use case, there's many use cases for that we could target with this network of verified humans. Our first use case is a social network. So on the social network, users share news, opinions, and links, and they earn cryptocurrency rewards when they get likes and they get replies. On a weekly basis, we distribute the token, which is Rayo coin, based on the reputation earned during the week. We want to enable the next generation of apps that are for humans only. So we want other developers to join and build on top of Rayo to do things like the first dating site for humans. Like, think about it. It's impossible right now building up the first dating site for humans. But with Rayo, that would be possible. Another 1 minute and a half. Another possible application is e-commerce site where everything goes in cryptocurrency. It's really hard right now because there's a lack of trust. And we could solve that with Rayo. So some of our revenue sources here possible: subscriptions, promoted content, or that are to be paid on with our token. So the token has a utility. So with the token, you accumulate tokens and you could promote your content through the network. We created this first use case in the last few months, and we launched about a month ago. And we've been seeing like great engagement and response from the early adopters. This is our team. We're 2 engineers that we met in college over 15 years ago, first year of college. And our friend that is a graphic designer, we've been working together for years. A couple of advisors, Dimitri, his company is in New York City. He raised $30 million. And Blake Johnson, he's the co-founder of Crypto NYC. You're quite aware of this community. Is one of the most active communities in blockchain and crypto. And that's it. Thank you very much.
All right.
When you mentioned that your kind of algorithm is users to approve other users, I assume it's like directional asynchronous interactions.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that term.
Like IOTA, you know, the process mechanism in IOTA. So okay. Because there are a lot of trouble with that system actually. If you're using sometimes something like you said, like one user verify to other users, so it's very much like that. So it's basically the process of verification.
Yep.
So, so the first question is how you sustain the Genesis attack. So what's the minimum number of users you can sustain the Genesis attack?
Right. So in terms of to become, so once you're a verified human, you have to build up your reputation before you actually get to verify
can
other
directly
users.
your chain with sufficient hash power or independence. You understand what I'm saying? and just kind of overpower your chain, and or that's a it's genesis attack. Understand?
Yeah, no, I
So,
don't know the
they-
answer to
you-
that question.
Yeah, IOTA worked with that. They first create, they first keep their project in one server and actually are completely centralized and wait until number of users exceeds some range. Because there is a mathematical, there is a theorem which says that you can see like size and so on and so forth. So they're trying to reach this barrier and they're already like on like 1 year without actually launching the project. And looking at your time map, I haven't seen anything. So I'm saying you are just on a direct risk of that attack just after the launch. You understand?
But this attack about just the number of users coming in and trying to get verified, is that a similar attack that could be?
No,
any
I just
network?
can't replicate your chain by using my servers immediately after your launch. That's basically the genesis.
Got it. Yeah, I have to.
If you don't have enough users, I can kind of, because users
Right,
are
and
going
that-
to be joining, they're going to be, you can of course defend by timestamping and all of this. But I assume you're not, okay, I see, you have.
Quickly, have you looked at by any chance Steam community?
Yeah, also.
And do you think that when they go out and do a crypto wallet and when they are verifying that you're actually users,
right?
And then they were a utopian.io which is built on top of, which rewards basically the for the content. Do you think this is similar to that, or do you think that?
Yeah, so Steam, I mean, so Steam is very different in the sense that Steam is, you can run a lot of fake accounts and just make money in Steam, and that's how basically Steam is run, in the sense that it's easily controllable by non-human accounts, because the more money that you have in Steam, the more voting power you have. So and that's part of the reasons, in my opinion, that Steam has a lack of good content. And it's because most of the content gets promoted to the top by non-human accounts. Whereas here, only humans get the cryptocurrency reward. So in that sense, I feel like we're very different.
Okay, so they just fix that problem. I agree with you, they had, which is called utopian.io. You may want to check it out. But
Yeah.
that's separately. What about Sapien? Do you think Sapien is what Sapien network? SAPIN?
Yeah, I think
They
so.
reach about
Is that-
18 million.
Yeah, is that similar to Mastodon? It's kind of like
Yeah.
the same concept.
It came out of
Yeah, I've seen some of those, but none of those are focused in the human verification aspect.
Okay.
So all of them, they have a different upsides and different trade-offs.
Okay.
But I think, to my knowledge, we're the only ones focused in the human verification
So offline,
aspect.
let's talk about offline is we ran out of time. How you do that? Because I think that's what I'm trying to understand if there is an IP. How you do the human verification part.
Right.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Please
Thank you
give a
very
quick round of applause. Okay. All right, okay. So the next startup to go is Assetonics.
Okay, yeah, one more, right? So we need to change the source here, is that what it is? Or?
Just move it to the right. This can move here, and this can move here, and
No, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, I'm not
So
asking.
you have move.
So what happens?
I just prefer to mix in the middle of the table.
Maybe HDMI. Maybe HDMI. Good work.
So there we go.
So it works. Yeah, it works good. Alright. So someone from setting up, right, wiring out. Alright.
Time starts now.
So my name is Zeki Gunay. Everybody, good evening. I am the CEO of Kratos Technology, and our product's name is SIRX. So there might be a little bit of confusion over there, but we are a monitoring as a service company. So we monitor assets. So we form a chain of trust around your assets. We provide useful information and insights about what has happened to them and how their value changes depending on their condition. So SRX uses 3 components, and unlike any other product that you see out there, or most of the products that you see out there, as a matter of fact, we have a product that works, that is going sideways in the market, and we have customer traction. We use blockchain, and this is our next step over. We have sensors, high precision sensors that we have developed, or we can accept third-party or off-the-shelf sensors on our platform as well. And we are using smart contracts to resolve disputes. We tokenize time, location, and condition-based value for assets. So the problem that we're solving is a very fundamental problem. You have seen it if you're in business. Even if you're not in business, you suffer from it every day without knowing. The recipient of any product or service pays the price for anything that happens during the supply chain. The reason why you are paying what you're paying today is because there's a lot of inefficiencies built into the system, and there's a lot of loss in the system. I'll give you one example. $35 billion is what we lose every year in biopharma market alone. And that is not the value of the material that's lost. The material is only $10, $15 billion. The rest is the repercussions of it, the delays and the inefficiencies. If an insurance claim is made, to resolve the insurance claim, what you spend. So loss accumulates and receiver suffers. Very standard problem. I don't think any one of you is going to disagree with this. So what we do is we extract a timeline of events or what is happening in the supply chain operations. We provide real-time alerts if something is going on wrong, and we basically keep everything in ledgers. The condition of the asset, if it has been tampered with, under whose custody it was, and who handled the product, and where it was, and when it was. And our solution is executing smart contracts on the delivery of value. The delivery value. We tokenize the delivery value. We extract the fair value of product or the service delivered, and we keep the records indefinitely on the chain. Give you a small example. We have little sensors, for example, that are monitoring a shipment. Place the sensor inside the shipment, associate the sensor with the package, start receiving real-time data as to what's going on. Our cloud platform features machine learning and AI algorithms. Unlike other companies, we have our own algorithms. We do not rely on Google's or Amazon's or other third parties' algorithms. We have developed these algorithms optimized for our sensors and our cloud platform. Our sensors can resolve or classify information on their own without needing any other infrastructure. At the end, what we provide is the timeline of events to our customers, along with that settled contracts based on the variables of condition, time, if there is any delay. So we basically adjust the valuation of any delivery based on these variables. For us to extract this information, the most valuable thing is visibility, and it's comprised of the data analytics. If your delivery is done with a drone or a truck or a container, every data source we use, in the warehouse, for example, we use sensors everywhere in all the shipments. We use barcodes and QR codes, NFC, RFID technologies, beacons for accurate location services. So all this data comes together in our intelligent cloud platform, gets aggregated, and gets reflected to your dashboards or enterprise software. So our intelligent cloud platform, SRX, is actually a bridge between the physical world and the digital world, adjusting the value of deliveries. We have reusable sensors for small parcels, larger ones. We have disposable. We operate with disposable sensors as well, or for tamper evidence or any other modality. And we provide easy access to information. Your assets always within your site. By gateways, we push data to the cloud. We provide an end-to-end solution. You could monitor your assets while in transit, storage, secure delivery, and packaging for every denomination of shipment. The opportunity that we're looking at is about $1.5 billion for biopharma alone. We have a very easy to use browser interface, and our platform allows users to set condition-based token models. So what condition parameter affects the value how. It settles smart contracts and issues payments while keeping immutable records. We provide full clarity where your shipments are, when, what, how, and under whose custody, and how much they are worth. We've got quite a few customers that we're working with right now, and getting involved in high-value ecosystems. And so I'm just going to go through the team real quick. Myself and our VP of software, he comes from trading background, high-speed trading algorithms. Brian comes from Trimble Navigation. Will Murphy from FedEx, and Jeffrey advises U.S. government on cold chain shipping. We're raising a $1 million seed round. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I might be early.
They're just going to ask the question.
So, as I understood, the gist of your business is mostly in tracking devices, so it is sensors. So why don't you approach a company like Multiverse, Chain, Elastos, or even Hyperledger and just propose your services? Because there is nothing about that business which you can do better than accept sensors that we mentioned.
We are not only on hardware business, so we do not sell hardware. We do not charge.
I understood that, but I'm saying that if you go that way, there is no competitive advantage for you at all except your sensors. So again, I'm asking you, why don't you use your competitive advantage? You go to the already established chain like Elastos, for example, or Metaverse or VeChain, because they actually do absolutely the same, but in much larger scale and they are big. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to very, very competitive area because I can't even remember the blockchain which actually, I mean, that blockchain the third generation, which is not in at the same market. Everybody there. Cardano, EOS, same.
May I get the names of the, may I get these suggested names from you?
Sure, of course. Yeah. Hyperledger is the best piece for you because Hyperledger is actually becoming a hub for so many small businesses building their supply chain, and they even have like a perfect use case for you, for example, fish fleet, the fish delivery from seaboards to your restaurant, they need these marks, and that's a huge problem. That's not. Instead of kind of making,
I do understand. I do understand what you're saying. So the blockchain part of the deal has been resolved, and we don't see one company, and show me if you know one, that basically have these sensors working. So what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that sensors is a very important part of the business.
So I agree with you. I'm agreeing with you.
That's super cool.
So that basically brings a very good multiplication of value. I really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. And I would like to actually reach out to you and get
Sure, I got it.
Thank
you. Similarly, you may want to talk to digital asset because digital asset is like the financial powerhouse based on Hyperledger, and they come with a diamond language, and we have smart contracts which are for various use cases, including so the financial transaction in the supply chain. For instance, to look at commodity market like Seaport or others, there are delivery-based contracts in commodity markets, right? So there is one which are like derivatives that there are physical cash settled. Now, when you look at those, and when those delivery contracts are not executed because of delay in shipping, delay in manufacturing, supply chain across the world, the smart contracts, if they're industry accepted, and this is where digital assets already doing a lot of work. So to Sweat's point, you may want to focus on kind of what's already being built across the chain by the industry to partners like Digital Asset and focus on more on your, the other end-to-end supply chain.
Thank you very much for the comment. Yes, and I'll definitely keep this to the heart. Yes.
All right. We have time for one question. Are there any questions from the audience?
I have one. What for low-cost commodities?
I'm sorry?
Your example was on biopharm. If you have a commodity market, very, very low-cost products, would it work?
Yeah, so that's why our platform accepts all kinds of data sources. So we operate with barcodes, QR codes, NFC tags, disposable sensors, or more sophisticated sensors. Now, given any product, there is a denomination that I can tell you that is going to be worth monitoring with a sensor, right? If it's a pair of socks, you don't, but maybe it's a pallet of socks, $10,000, you would monitor with a sensor, but that's okay. I mean, if you don't want to monitor a product, that's okay. With a sensor, that's okay. We basically work with barcodes and QR codes as well. So our platform comes as a software layer that latches right underneath your ERP or your inventory software management, inventory management software, and basically creates the bridge between the physical and digital world. So whether you want to use sensors or not, there is one field layer data source over there that we can work with.
Got it.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, and that's a very informative presentation. Let's give a big round. The next and the final startup to go is GatePay. We have GatePay here.
Yeah.
It's
a simulator. Thank you. You can also say what you got. We might give it away for free.
Need more adoption.
Catch you guys. Get the transactions into the trillions, right?
To begin with, thanks for giving the opportunity to having presence here. Hello everyone, I'm Murad, founder of GatePay. I know almost all of you guys hold cryptocurrencies, but I bet none of you using Bitcoin for face-to-face daily commerce. Let's say you want to buy a cup of coffee from a local coffee shop, you would probably pay a transaction fee more than the actual price of coffee. In some cases, the network is busy, but the main problem is you have to make transaction confirmations. At least one transaction confirmation, which is an average 10 minute process for Bitcoin at best probability. These problems are the most significant barriers to build a mainstream adoption for daily cryptocurrency usage. So, have you ever thought why do we need to wait transaction confirmations? Can we just make a payment and can we just leave? So, the answer is no, because of the issue of double spend. The transactions should only be assumed done when they get their transaction confirmations. Before 2017, people could make instant transactions on Bitcoin network because Bitcoin mainnet was capable to allow zero confirmation transactions. But unfortunately, on March 2017, the block size reached 1 megabyte, and unconfirmed transactions on Bitcoin network became vulnerable to double spend attacks. So, it was a fundamental change to Bitcoin because in the entire history of Bitcoin, blocks always had an extra space between blocks. But the issue of that's because the blocks became full. The problem that blocks became full. The Bitcoin adoption rate stagnated. Then people look toward the altcoins because altcoins has faster confirmation and lower transaction costs than Bitcoin. Then the altcoins started gaining the dominance over Bitcoin network. Then in the following months, teams stopped accepting payments in Bitcoin. And not only with that, then we actually started to see more business and big companies around the world stopped payments in Bitcoin. And it was one of the main reasons that's why Bitcoin Cash Fork happened. because Bitcoin Core was acting like a store of value rather than a daily payment tool, which Satoshi was intended to build. At that point, as gateway, we hold a great promise for the future of Bitcoin by enabling zero confirmation payments again, thanks to double spend prevention. So we have come up with a brand new unique on-chain approach called insurance transaction that led us to prevent double spend attacks targeting unconfirmed transactions. We are basically building a cryptographic agreement between payee and payer, and we are protecting double spend attacks targeting incoming transactions. So we have a software wallet, and it's a multi-currency fully decentralized wallet that deals with double spend prevention. Now we are supporting Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dog, and Dash. You're allowed to access your private key, and you can just take a look through the QR code. So you guys probably familiar with BitPay, right? BitPay is not an instant payment solution, but it's a payment solution that you can make payments for online commerce. You can purchase something online, you can buy something online using BitPay. Is that because you don't have to make instant payments when you buy something online? Because once your transaction confirmed on the network, then your online merchant calls your order, fulfill the order. But in the perspective of physical commerce, it's essential to make instant crypto payments because nobody wants to make transaction confirmations. At that point, we have many competitors like sidechains, payment channels, and even centralized debit card solutions. Lightning Network is the most common protocol, our off-chain solutions. But our main advantages, as far as we know, we are by far the first on-chain solution. And we have on-chain has many advantages to our off-chain solutions in terms of micropayments, integration difficulty, spend flexibility, and offline payments. These are the four main advantages of our Lightning Network. The first, the most important one for me is the flexibility. In Lightning Network, it's a separate layer, additional layer outside blockchain, and they call themselves second layer. So the point is you have to build a payment channel between your merchant. And the problem is you have to lock your funds into multi-signature address. Let's say you have 10 Bitcoin, and you, let's say, make it easy, 100 price equals 1 Bitcoin, then you can make 10 successful payments, right? But let's say you make 5 successful payments, then you want your 5 Bitcoin back. Then you have to wait till a certain time. Each payment channel has its deadline, it's called lock time, and you have to wait till a certain time to redeem your funds back. It's theoretically possible, but in the real life, it's not feasible. So the other main advantage is the offline payments. On the Lightning Network, the commerce should be maintained only between related peers. If one of the nodes goes offline, the payment channel crashes. But on the blockchain, one of these nodes goes offline, the rest of nodes store the transaction data. So nodes doesn't have to run nodes uptime as possible. So we have on the marketing side, we have 2 phases. On the first phase, we are planning to act like a vendor for cryptocurrencies. We allow users to make crypto transfers to their friends, to their family. On the second phase, we are planning to expand our business to the global by collaborating with some local business, retail stores, and some Bitcoin ATMs. So our revenue model is based on commission charge, 1.5%. We have already released our wallet. We are going to acquire like about 1,100K wallet user, and mainstream adoption estimated by 2025. And in the future, almost each business will accept cryptocurrencies, and they will need to use a payment solution that allows them to accept instant cryptocurrencies. And we have unfair competitor advantage, our physical commerce segment. So hello everyone, we are 4 people, dynamic cross-national team. We are all around 20s. I'm 20, like 29, 24, 21. And hello everyone, I'm Murat, founder of GetPay, very first technical co-founder. I'm responsible for the full development stuff. Alex is quite experienced in startup space, and he has succeeded in many companies, and he had 2 exits. So we are asking for $500 million for most of our operational costs. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Time for questions.
Yeah. So I just kind of guessing. Are you giving some type of credit to your users and register on-chain transaction for yourself? That's what you're doing?
It's totally peer-to-peer. You just need download the decentralized wallet. You just need to create a private key, which is offline transaction. then you make an on-chain transaction. We are 100% on-chain.
Yeah, I understand that, but in order to do that, you have to, it's a kind of, you're giving a credit to your users, right? So you're kind of financing them, and then you register your own on-chain transactions, and then if there is a risk that, like, some clients don't pay, you just kind of take that loss and try to recuperate, right? That's what you're doing.
Like that, we are looking at cryptographic agreements. We act like a payment insurance company.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah, like you create a transaction, and your unconfirmed transaction is protected against double spend attacks. So you made a payment transaction, and you can just leave. You don't have to wait transaction confirmation. We came up with a new solution.
I understand client side. I don't really understand the backend, what you do. So I kind of assume that what you're doing is actually registering transaction on-chain immediately by your own kind of from your own kind of centralized server, and then waiting for confirmation from the client transaction. If this transaction doesn't confirm, you take the loss, right?
Right. We are analyzing transaction on a centralized server, but it doesn't make it centralized. It doesn't appear.
I understand it doesn't make it centralized. It's just avoiding that issue with lightning network, which I agree with, because you need to be part of the channel opening and closing, you're kind of solving it like in a lot. But to doing that, you need to take the risk. That's what I'm saying. And I assume what you're doing is what you're doing. So you kind of confirm.
What's the premium you charge to buy the insurance? Because you're basically underwriting the risk to technology.
No, we don't take risk. Actually, it's cryptographically guaranteed. We are using find out that unique brand new solution called insurance transaction. Basically, if you try to like gamification, if you try to double spend, merchant will redeem his payment anyway. You lose your payments, but it's a full decentralized cryptographic way. We are not taking risk.
Okay. So are you basically addressing reducing cost part as well, or is it just
of course. We have two main value proposition. The first one is instant payments, and the second is low cost transaction. Because on our wallet, when you create a transaction, it includes a minimum amount of network fee. Because it doesn't matter if this transaction is going to be mined, because it's cryptographically guaranteed that it's going to be mined, but at a later uncertain time. It includes like 5-cent transaction fee per time, which is the minimum amount.
Yeah.
Right. We have time for one audience question. Does anything?
I'll go again. How do you manage the offline transaction?
We are not managing offline transaction is a feature of on-chain. We are an on-chain based solution. We are using the main blockchain. We are not using an offline, a separate layer than blockchain. So basically, you don't need to run a node of payments possible. You just need to create a transaction, and you can just go offline. You don't have to run nodes. Offline payments is for all wallets, all on-chain structures.
All right. So that brings us to the conclusion of all that pitching. For today, we have 5 aspiring startups to pitch on the stage. Now the judges are going to need a minute to brainstorm, talk about it, and see we have a top of all the 5 startups that we have on the stage. So yeah, take a minute, and I'm going to use this 10-15 minutes for you to come on the stage, ask for any help that you need, if you're looking for a CTO, the next CTO, or the next developer, whatever that you need, or even if you need someone to help you with the design of your application, whatever the case may be, probably as a co-founder, so you can come on stage, ask for the help that you need for your startup. Any takers? Anybody want to come on stage? Or making an announcement about an event that you want to do, anything that you want to announce. Yeah, come on. All right.
You guys can step out. Most of step out.
You guys can step out, talk.
Doesn't matter. I'm fine.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm fairly new to the whole blockchain. I've been in this for a year, kind of playing with it, learning about it. But currently, right now, I work for a startup company who do some sort of AI-based CRM to help sales and marketing guys to manage their sales cycle. But anyway, so I'm here. I'm out of town. I live in Oakland, but I'm eventually probably think I'm moving down here. So, and I found this meetup, and I find it pretty fascinating with the participation here. In terms of blockchain, I'm looking at maybe the next months or years to get involved. And if somebody's interested, I have a very
broad technical and business skills. If anybody's interested, reach out. I'll be here for some time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, just to level set, the idea of this co-founder mixer is to give the judges the time to not come back with a window for tonight. So if you guys want to step out and talk about it, you're welcome to. Are there any other takers, any other announcements that any of you would like to make? Because we have viewers on our YouTube channel. Okay, come on.
All right. As I mentioned at the den, we are really interested in teaching professionals and students the skills that are required by the industry. So the help that we always ask for is if any company is looking for developers, we would love to talk to you, not to hire, just to cooperate and hire our students, but also we would like to ask you about the skills that are required and that you feel are needed in our students. Also, I would like to ask you to tell us or to help us with making sure that our material is up to date from your perspective, spreading the word about us as an education nexus. And we are incorporating with anyone and everyone. So as I mentioned, we would love people with experience or without experience to open the doors for them to join the blockchain ecosystem. So if anyone needs engineers, we're happy to work with you. We also would love any feedback on the curriculum, any feedback on the skills that we teach in our students. That's it. Thank you.
Any other announcements? Anything that you want to bring it to the group's attention? Okay, and feel free, mingle around, just give it about like 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, just come back and then we'll answer the note.
So what's the startup
No, well, so the product is launched. The roadmap, we got some pretty expensive measurements. We got most of it done. Yeah, it's probably.
Yeah, you know, so that was like today.
No, I'm not. I'll work with it. But I work with the co-founders. Well, I have to start part-time because that's how we can kind of run it out. It's going full-time, more money, and that's market for So I'm looking for part-time because I'm thinking that this company team does well. Doing the business work, they're not really.
Those are my personal opinions. I don't know.
They should have been done. I'm not too much involved with that. I've dealt with customers. So I should work. So it's possible this might get to another lifeline from the existing customer. There's so much more work to be done. Switch it out for 6 months, 1 year. But if the business side team, the technology is good, if they don't push it, and the co-founders, one guy is very small, there's 4 co-founders, the other 3, they know their stuff, but they're not kind of do the business side. I see the trouble. Okay. But it might be cool. We don't know.
So,
yeah, so I'll continue with that. And I can spend 2-3 hours a day. I don't have, my kids are on college. Pretty much.
I'm very sick. I would enjoy, and I want to do something
Yeah. So I really like the blog idea. If you're interested, reach out to me, and we can kind of do a prototype, take it to the next level, do a sales pitch, get some feedback, get some seed money, and then take it to the next level. We're kind of and I know the blog is it's just a simple blog that take it out.
My whole point is
Oh, okay, that's what I think. I didn't know that name, so now it makes sense. Okay. Sorry about that. There's so many options.
Right? It's just related. Like how do you promote it? You don't know how to make that's how I see it.
The whole system as a login system also. Meaning,
use their own. Yeah, so that's how
I haven't found any our purpose is to create
I think that's what extracting the data from our first one. That could be that's what I want to
So that's how I want to position
this whatever we are talking is not easy. So that's why I was using the open source kind of thing. But even if you think about on the high end, small customers will be now if you're selling to large customers, you will run into this problem that this guy will make a sales cycle in I simply don't want to do a startup. So when we were startup was even after what I just pitched to you and everything makes sense, I don't even want to. This is something that unless we start, I don't even want to start.
So your goal is to have enough runway so that the sales cycle is close.
Cannot be a side project.
That's what you're saying. So we do a prototype, get enough funding, so that we have enough runway to go.
No prototyping. You have to abandon this idea is a bad idea. It has to be possibly suitable for somebody who's done successful and can raise money upfront with a partner. So this idea probably suits them. But I hope other things, which are
before we do this, why not find somebody who's willing to be majority shareholder?
Right, so it's almost as finding an investor. No, but here we are. I'm just saying that there are what I want to do. Maybe I can do it as side project until it starts seeing an outcome, and then we see the right. This one is where the activation energy is very high. That's my problem. Okay. So the activation demand will go. There are where it is, we put up a system together out there. It's a service available. Anyone can sign up with their credit card and it's an engineering team or a security team. You can go and sign up, pay like $200 or something. That is much less activation where we can put out a system, a service which I have in mind, which is urgent for me out there. And there is logging is a part of that thing. But logging itself, I feel, is a business right. That's the other thing which is so activation is kind of security, but we don't need a sales team. We need
community will start finding out.
Community and that too also require some I want to leverage this community. Blockchain community as well as zero knowledge frameworks. The whole idea internet the way World Wide Web design was 27 also holds a and what that means is, it's the best example, and it's already been done out there for 7-8 years. Very popular, only one word. They do zero So all the encryption happens on the device of your browser or your device, and the encrypted log goes to LastPass, right? And their engineers can see it, nobody can see it. So for them, it's all right. But then whenever we want to see and your password is logged into
that, right? Thank you for your attention. The judges have to arrive in at the top of the window. So I'm going to ask Sweat to present it. Are you good with it? Oh, sure. Okay.
After long deliberation, we decided to have two winners. Yeah, because actually we want to have more, but it's going to be ridiculous, right? So I'm going to present one winner, and my colleague going to present the another winner. So yeah.
So we picked one in the enterprise space and one in the consumer space because we want to make sure that it sets an example in terms of how close you are to building the use case. So I think Shwet's going to talk about the consumer side, and I'm going to pick on the enterprise side. So on the enterprise side, the winner is Pradhan. Pradhan, am I pronouncing it correctly? So, and part of the reason we both picked them is I think I think Pradhan is kind of going out and upping the act and pushing the envelope in terms of enterprise adoption of the apps. We both believe that this could be a very cool tool. SDK, Visual Basic for blockchain, however we're going to call them, especially as more and more components get built, and especially once you roll out API for third party to build those components so that we are not dependent only on you, hopefully. So then what happens is you have a mass developer people who know, developing apps. They could go out and provide pre-built components or artifacts, and then those apps can be built much more faster. And I think they've already taken the first step. I think we saw a very, very brief, sketchy way of how you go out and build a smart contract. So I think we should hand it over to them, and I think this will really help in terms of driving more adoption and use case especially on the enterprise side. That's what we feel. Cool.
So another winner is Gateway. The reason we took that, and by the way, there were not disagreements between us. It was more like we like both of that because I'm a developer also, and you're telling me that I will have less headaches with Ethereum. I just cannot resist. So the reason why we choose Gateway, that's the size of the market, because we really have now two solutions, on-chain and off-chain, and both of the solutions are satisfactory. First is because of the time, second because actually Lightning was implemented already maybe 3 months, right? How many of you use Lightning, right? I guess that none of you even know how much time you have to spend to install Lightning. Actually, to install Lightning, you have first to install the phone now, which is 550 gigabytes at the time. So it's very good if you're running a small business and a medium business and a lot of customers, and you can open the channel for all of them. But then, of course, there is a problem of closing channels, all this. And if there is a solution that is actually proposed to the market, the on-chain transactions for micropayment, that's super cool. Although I personally have some kind of, I wouldn't say doubt, but I have not seen exactly on their protocol. But after we talked to the you are engineer, right? Main engineer in the project. Yes, I think that I more or less think that at least moving in the right direction. So and plus the solution which they propose is kind of original. So they kind of taken that and spent the client output as the kind of hostage for the other payment. It's kind of cool. Well, so that's why we took this decision.
All right. I think the one thing that I would say is there is no winner or loser. It's more of the top of all these startups that presented today. From a use case perspective, how applicable they are in the blockchain space and how they are evolving and that. The startups that the judges have picked, please reach out to me. You have my email address. I'll help you with token of appreciation and what this winning means. So that said, it kind of brings us to the conclusion of today's demo night. I'll be happy to host for another 15 minutes. Feel free, mingle around. I'm pretty sure you had a lot of time to network, but if you want to hang around for another 15 minutes, feel free to do so. The event runs till 8 o'clock, but I can stretch it till 8:30. But thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. And this is, again, I want to thank the sponsors, Wild Palms Hotel, Internet Solutions for being the technology partner, and on. We have this exciting hackathon coming up in a couple months. So please go join our meetup event so we know what the headcount is going to be and we can start planning. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Bala. All right, sounds great. Thank you all.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Anyways, idea and this one musician is